Ever since Sleep Token have burst on the scene, they have garnered a lot of hate. And similar to what I did about liturgy, which definitely check out that video if you haven't, where I go into the many reasons that people dislike liturgy and kind of psychoanalyze it, I wanted in this video to dive into some of the reasons that I have observed and that I think people hate Sleep Token. You have to section this off a little bit because it's not easy enough to just say that it's one reason and one reason or alone, because there are a lot of different communities that have a lot of different warring opinions on them. The biggest of which being obviously metalheads, and the primary reason that a lot of metalheads just don't like Sleep Token is they think they're too commercial. Sleep Token at their core are labeled as a metal band, as a post-metal band, as a metalcore band, as whatever you want to refer to them as. You got chugs, you got breakdowns, you have screamed vocals, but then you have like the other 85% of their sound, which consists of everything ranging from a variety of shades of electronic underground music, EDM bangers, sultry R&B music, hard and soft trap music, some weird free jazz sort of sounds, post-rock isms, and that's just scratching the surface. This harkens back to a general gatekeeping purist type of traditional approach to metal, which always entails that if you don't have live organic instrumentation 100% of the time, and if you do anything that can even remotely be considered accessible or commercially viable, you are automatically a sellout and lose a hell of a lot of credibility, notoriety, and recognition in the eyes of the people that want their criteria to be met and their expectations to be fulfilled and all of their little boxes to be ticked off. You can't really just call Sleep Token a metal band because a lot of the time they don't come across that way. They come across as this weird bastardization of a lot of different genres put into one. And for someone that doesn't like to see that experimentation or feels like the formula of metal is being tainted when you put other things into the formula, they really just don't like that. Which kind of leads me into my next point, and this goes for people that maybe do like experimentation in metal or not, just thinking that Sleep Token embody the worst qualities or the most bare essentials of the styles that they borrow from. I've seen this be a pretty consistent complaint, and it's actually a complaint that I agree with to some degree and can see the credence in. Sleep Token, while they are taking a lot of different styles and putting them together in a pretty creative way, when you strip down each individual style to the bare minimum and look at them and examine them just as what they are and not as the one part of a greater sum, they are pretty basic. They are pretty scant. The ideas that Sleep Token are playing around with, if they were individualized and put forward just as their own thing, I think they would be seen as a lot less creative. But it's the fact that they are combined with these other styles that it suddenly seems more creative than it is, seems more ingenious than it is. But for people that like to examine things like music theory and things like how you incorporate different genres and how you construct a song, when you pick apart their music, it feels a little basic. And so for people that are looking at this music and maybe do like experimentation or do like seeing other things be injected into the formula, they're seeing something that is a lot more basic than they might like, and maybe they wish that the limits were pushed more. This kind of goes hand in hand with the commercially viable sort of thing, since a big reason that they are commercially viable is because they're injecting these styles in that are digestible. And even though Sleep Token have kind of been branded as this very experimental band, they're really not that experimental. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, because hearing what they do, it is pretty cool. Sleep Token are fucking awesome. But for people that maybe want a little bit more from their music or are seeing all of this praise for them, I think it could be a little much for someone that is looking for more and looking for a different sort of expression through their music. I can't go any further in this video without really stepping into the territory of the industry plant allegations. Fortunately, Sleep Token have pretty much gotten a really bad reputation as being considered an industry plant. And while industry plants certainly exist, most of the time when people accuse an artist or a band in any genre, whether it be metal, pop, rap, whatever, it is just that, accusatory. You don't really have that much proof unless you do have proof. And a lot of it is based in conspiracy and not objectivity, and there really isn't that much that shows that Sleep Token are industry plants. People are just attributing their quick rise to fame and their skyrocketing success and their overnight success story pretty much to an industry plant sort of thing, because it's rare to see a band break into the mainstream like this. But just for my own opinion, I don't think Sleep Token are an industry plant. That's it. But going off the back of the industry plant thing, the popularity, the quick skyrocketing success, the bleeding into the mainstream, a lot of people don't like that very much. Anytime there is a metal band that comes into the mainstream and becomes a household name, you see a slew of people that are bandwagoning and doggy-piling to hate on them and ride their dick in the worst way possible. It happened with Death Heaven when they got very popular. It happened with Lorna Shore when they got very popular. It happened with Spirit Box and Bring Me the Horizon, and even back in the day, bands like Metallica and Cannibal Corpse got their fair share of hate for breaking into the mainstream. It's a conversation a lot of people aren't ready to have and don't really want to look in the eyes of, but for all of the talks of inclusivity that the metal sphere has, anytime that a band bleeds into the mainstream and starts to get more recognition in a mainstream way, both inside and outside of metal, people feel threatened by it. Metalheads feel threatened by it. They feel like their scene is going to become over-bloated, or that it's going to be taken into a direction that they aren't comfortable with, and they don't really want their outsider culture to be penetrated. And when you have a band that's bringing more and more people into metal, even though they should be thinking, hey, this is going to be a gateway band that could get more people into metal, they see it as, what I said, a threat. And Sleep Token, especially like with the Grammy nomination and that type of thing, it's a lot like how Ghost had people reacting to them in a very negative light. And considering the whole like outfits and the aesthetic and the sound and the blending of styles, I think you can compare Sleep Token to Ghost a lot. Especially considering Sleep Token don't really have a style that you would imagine they would by just looking at them, similar to how Ghost doesn't really have a style that you think they would have. But let's get into the nitty-gritty and the details of the musicality itself. The biggest thing that people do not like from Sleep Token is their hyper-sanitized production. They are very clean. Probably one of the cleanest produced modern metal bands, period, and that's saying something. Everything is sickly sweet and has a lot of processing on it, a lot of engineering on it, slathered to death in reverb, and every single vocal effect that is put on, every single bit of reverb and effect that is put on the instrumentation makes it sometimes to a lot of people feel just not human, like it doesn't have an organic twist to it. Metalheads and rock fans like to feel that naturalness and that fluidity within the instrumentation, and Sleep Token feel very pop-centric to a lot of people. A lot of the production styles and techniques that are employed are very pop-centric and hip-hop and R&B centric, and if you look at the way that they produce their material in those sections, it's very similar to what you hear in mainstream pop and R&B and trap. And when you're going into something expecting it to hit hard and expecting it to be metal, and you suddenly hear something that you could hear on like the top 40s chart in terms of how it's constructed in the production, those comparisons can really rub people the wrong way. And on the topic of musicality, people aren't a big fan of the lyrics sometimes. The crypticness of it, they might be poetic, they might be beautifully written, but it's sometimes difficult for people to relate to those lyrics or understand what it's talking about, and a lot of people really don't like the fact of how overtly sexual a lot of their lyricism is, and I fail to see why that's a big issue. Sleep Token are not the first, and they certainly will not be the last metal or rock band to make sex and the concept of sexuality a big part of their music and write material about it. And if anything, I think they're doing it a lot more tastefully and poetically than a hell of a lot of other bands. And stepping outside of musicality, we go to the look. Big complaint I've seen from quite a few people is that they seem gimmicky. Now, this is something that you will see with just about any band that is similar to this, whether it be like Ghost or Batushka or Gwar or Slipknot, where if you have masks or you have some sort of outfit to you, people are going to automatically think that you are gimmicky or you're using that to propel yourself into more popularity. And without a shadow of a doubt, I would say that when you have that mysterious exterior and people don't really know who you are, what your identities are, you have this anonymity to you, I think it definitely does draw people to you more. You stand out a lot more, and I think a lot of people don't really want to admit it, but compared to, you know, death metal band number 500 with 4 guys wearing tank tops and cargo shorts, something like Sleep Token is going to stick out like a sore thumb, and you're gonna know and recognize what they look like and what they sound like, because they are very unique unique in their presentation, and that is a big part of their brand and how they put themselves out there. And while this can be a positive and bring a lot of people towards them and make them gravitate towards them because of their uniqueness and how special they are, the people that don't like gimmicks and don't like gimmickness in metal and rock, it's obviously going to be a turnoff for them. But ultimately, these are only some of the reasons that people dislike Sleep Token. Do you like them? Do you not? Do you agree or disagree with any of the points in this video? Let me know down in the comment section below what your thoughts are of them. I can't wait to hear it. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to join the review family today, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You know who it is. My name is Jay Morris, and I'm signing off saying farewell.